Previous roll will carry. Audience participation? Three?
Yeah, we have 4 signed up. There's one roll off.
Also submitted in writing. Mr. Ted Arnold, board policy says any formal complaints need to go to you. So this is a formal complaint that I'm presenting to the board regarding abuse of power by a Reavis board member. Reavis board code of ethics state, as a member of my local school board, I will do my utmost to represent the public interest in education by adhering to the following standards and principles. I will represent all school district constituents honestly and equally and refuse to surrender my responsibilities to special interests or partisan public code groups. I will avoid any conflict of interest or the appearance of impropriety which could result from my position and will not use my board membership for personal gain or publicity. On June 2012, Mrs. Ayala was hired to the Reavis staff for school year 2012-2013 to work in the lunchroom. Mrs. Ayala's wife, Mr. Jerry Ayala, a current Reavis board member. In June 2012, Reavis school board policies include Section 245, which is the anti-nepotism policy. The anti-nepotism policy is supposed to prevent abuses of board members' positions and to protect the district. Members are not to use their positions to hire spouses or children or other relatives and have any personal gain through such moves. I have names of individuals that applied for these same positions that Mrs. Ayala was hired for because of her connections to her husband on the board. These individuals have 10 years or more experience in food service, and because of their lack of connections to the board, were not given equal opportunities and were bypassed. How does this board plan to remedy this clear violation of the Reavis Board of Ethics, ignoring conflict of interest policies, and complete disregard of the anti-nepotism policy? One way is the immediate resignation of Mr. Jerry Ayala from the Reavis School Board and termination of his wife from staff. This will prevent any future violations at the school board position and protect the district from lawsuits.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah. Got it.
The reason I came here today, originally I wasn't going to talk, but I was forced to. Last week there was an incident at school that brought a lot of concern to me. And most of you are parents, and you would be concerned as well. The job for Reavis, and Dan, you had promised safety for our children, okay? Not just certain children, but all children. When my child is harassed, discriminated against, okay, targeted, singled out, that is extremely upsetting. My daughter was taken out of class by a policeman, yelling, let me change the word, barking at her, according to what he said, for having a staff sticker on her car. He yelled at her for driving her mother's car. Okay, you did not give my child even 24 hours to get the student sticker. Has this been a problem? Somebody could have called and said, Lena, get a new sticker for your kid. Not take her out from 40, where we have 45 kids watching her being escorted by a policeman out of class so she could be yelled at about a sticker, for God's sake. Come on, guys. Dan, is this for real? I thought our job at Reavis is to protect the kids. That's our priority. Make sure there's no bullying, be it child to child, but adult to child. It's pretty scary when you are crossed by a policeman and being yelled at for something that you were not given even an opportunity to remedy. That's the first thing. The second thing that I find that is interesting looking at the agenda here, and actually online before I came in, was the hiring of 2 people for the Festival of Nations, which I ran for years. Is it the hiring of the international club or the Festival of Nations, which is one event? As a community member, it concerns me that we have enough money to hire 2 people for one day. And if that's not the case, to hire 2 people for international club, which is at the beginning of the year, I was told I could not get another person when I had over 150 kids. But now that the numbers went down to less than 20, we need 2 people at
That's true.
the rate that we're going to pay them. Where are we getting the money from? So these are my concerns. Dan, I hope that I would hear from somebody regarding my daughter and to remedy that situation. And the other concern is, as a community member, this money, we're not throwing money out the window. What are we doing? Thank you.
Next, Mr. Wade.
Marcia Casper.
How many minutes?
3 minutes.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to be asking questions to the administration and the elected officials from entities representing us, the taxpayers of Burbank. The first question has to do with why some people began questioning the board and the administration about questionable spending and task force declining. Why do we only get 3 minutes to speak when prior to this questioning we were allowed 5 minutes? As Burbank residents, this to the outside person looking in looks like we're trying to limit the time people have for legitimate questions. And due to you only giving us 3 minutes to speak, I would ask that you answer my questions after my time or in writing and place them in the official minutes. I'll go into the minutes now. Why do the minutes not accurately reflect what is being said at the board meeting, specifically when it comes to residents asking questions? Now, I know several residents have asked for their questions and comments to be added to the minutes and have provided the board with a copy of what they have stated here at the meeting. And I have yet to see the comments included in full within the minutes. It appears the minutes leave out the comments which state board members have very real conflicts of interest, or at least the appearance of impropriety. Also left out was when Dr. Reavis was asked how he was taken out of context when he stated we didn't have the money for more classes for our students, and then went ahead the very next month and asked the board and received from the board a 5-year contract with raises for him and 2 assistant administrators. If the board did not approve the contract for the administrators, we would have the money for the teachers to teach more classes. What is most disturbing to me is Dr. Reardon admitted to constructing a separate organizational chart with help from Mr. Arnold behind the back of his then boss, the prior superintendent, Dr. Statesville. The chart had Dr. Reardon as the superintendent and Mr. Arnold the board president. Well, that is exactly what happened. Any other job where you conspire to take the boss's position, you'll be fired on the spot. But not here within the Reavis school system, where all you need to do is stack the board with members who have conflicts of interest. And if you play it right, you can become superintendent of Reavis and show poor test scores, declining graduation rates, and get 5-year contracts for you and your buddies. By the way, that move which Mr. Reardon and Mr. Arnold pulled off cost the taxpayers of Burbank, Todd, and Dr. Park hundreds of thousands of dollars, which could again have been spent towards instruction.
thank you.
David Casper.
I'd like to address the question of the board members once again, on why they approved the contracts of Dr. Reardon, Mr. Negretti, and Mr. Smith. Since I only have 3 minutes now, as he said, we don't get the 5 minutes anymore. I'm just going to concentrate on Dr. Reardon for today, and I'll give it to Mr. Negretti and Mr. Smith next time. As far as Dr. Reardon, since becoming intern superintendent and now superintendent here at Reavis, this is what's happened to Reavis. And these are the numbers that Reavis gives to the state, so you can't argue with it. These are the report card numbers. Reavis used to spend 44% of its budget on instruction versus the state average back then of 47.6. The latest data that has Reavis showing now spends 38.4% on instruction of the budget versus the average state, or the average school, which spends 48.3. That's 10% less than the average state school spends on instruction. With an approximate budget of $30 million, that's about $3 million more we could be spending on instruction if we were in line with the state averages. And this does have to do with Mr. Negretti, too, because he runs all the numbers. The next category is general administration. Back when Dr. Reardon took over, Reavis was spending 3% on administration. Now Reavis spends 5.4%, or 2.4% more than when he took over. This amounts to approximately $750,000 a year more that we, again, could be spending on frontline educators instead of our administrators. The state average is only 3.3. Reavis spends 61% more on administration than the state average. 61% more. Another category is this other expenditure. When Dr. Reardon took over, Reavis was spending 17.6% of the budget on a category which is the exact amount that the state used to spend, 17.6%. Now Reavis spends 28.8% on other expenditures. And the state still only spends 17.7%. Again, almost $3 million more of our tax dollars that could be going toward instruction towards our kids. Reavis is 50.9 versus the state average of 76.7. We're 50.9 versus 76.7 for state for overall performance. Since Dr. Reardon took over, that's a drop of nearly 20%. Why did you guys give these guys contracts? Can you tell me, Mr. Ayala? No, I didn't think so. I didn't think you could. I would argue that Dr. Reardon's formula for cutting spending on instruction and paying his administration a lot more and allocating excessive amounts of taxpayers' money on this other expenditure category, our children who are attending Reavis are not getting the education they rightfully deserve. This can only, in my opinion, be attributed to the administration, because the teachers are the same teachers that were here when Dr. Stacy was here and Mr. Reardon took over. 15 seconds. So, what changed? That's what changed. And next time I'll get into Mr. Smith and Mr. Negretti. Thank you.
All right, we have two.
Excuse me, but I just wanted to ask, will you answer my questions now or put them in the minute?
We'll get to that. Moving on. Thank you for your comments.
Tonight, are you going to?
Thank you for your comments.
It's
Are
not
you going to
comments,
answer a question?
it's just a question. I'm a Burbank resident with my.
We pay taxes here, Dr. Reardon. You don't. You don't even pay taxes where you're supposed to be paying taxes. So why don't you answer our question? Let's find out if you're going to answer our questions.
We assume there's something to hide then, that's all.
You're hiding stuff. You look silly.
If you cannot.
Oh, I'm leaving. Because you look silly. Because you can't answer a question by a taxpayer.
Fair enough.
A taxpayer. And all you board members should be ashamed.
You either.
That's all I'm saying.
We
Have a
either
good night.
what? We either.
You too. Thank you.
You two what? All right. So you're not going to answer our question.
We're going to move on. What we're going to do.
Okay.
You're going to move.
To
Is
consider
anyone going to answer the question?
request.
No one cares, huh? You kids don't care that they don't answer questions about your
We're going to ask the board to consider the request. of
They don't answer
high school
questions. They never do.
soccer field for the girls JV varsity home soccer games from March 4th, 2013 to May 21st, 2013, from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30
We have to wait.
p.m.
Well,
Per attack schedule.
I'll follow you.
When not being
Okay.
athletic.
What? Sa Hato.
Why do we pay taxes?
Colonel?